I'm Lisa Goldberg, and I am a nutritionist and weight loss coach. And I really help people understand what it takes to lose weight and keep that weight off for good. So, before I get right into the conversation that I want to have with you today, I just want to tell you a little bit about my story um, and how I got into doing the work that I do. And it really kind of started for me. Um, Goodness, at least 25 plus years ago, where I used to struggle with my weight for at least 10 years or so. I went to college, I gained the freshman 15, 20. I struggled with it, I yo-yoed with it. It really did something to, my psyche, for lack of a better word, because there were so many evenings where I would just stay home because I just felt terrible in my own body. I remember in college once that at some point after gaining all of this weight, that my boyfriend actually was able to fit into my jeans. And that was after my sister came up to visit and she had to take me clothes shopping so I could buy bigger clothes because my clothes were starting not to fit anymore. So it was really embarrassing, humiliating. My self-esteem took a hit. It was a terrible, terrible time in my life. But, what I've learned and what's made a difference for me is staying connected to what I want and how I feel in my body. So at this point in my life, at 54 years old, I never forget that feeling. And I stay really connected to where I never want to go back to. And so when I started working with clients after I got my degree in nutrition, I really did, like every other nutritionist, just focus on the food. I just focused on, what people should be eating and how they should change. And I told them exactly what to eat. And I told them, about protein, fats, and carbs. And we talked about calories and, we calculated calories. But as I started to do this work, I realized that none of that mattered because people stayed in the struggle. And what I found was I kept hearing a lot of the same question, which was, what can I have after dinner? And I was like, but if you just ate dinner, are you hungry? And people were like, no, but I always like to have something after dinner, like what can I eat? So that question really got me thinking because I heard it so often. And then I started to do some work on mindfulness and mindset around food and eating, and a little bit on intuitive eating. And that kind of really got me on the path to do the work that I do today on habit, behavior, and mindset change for sustainable weight loss. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you're here and you're somebody that has been on a million different diets, you've gained and lost weight, you've struggled with this for your whole entire life, you've gained it, you've lost it, you've gained it, you've lost it, you just feel like you're at the end of your rope because you don't really understand why you can't do this. Why can't you lose the weight and keep the weight off that you lose? Because I totally understand what happens, because that was me. I would lose the weight and I would gain it back. And then one day I'd wake up and I'd be like, I don't understand. How did this happen? Like it seemed like one day you were perfectly fine and the next day you were back 10, 15 pounds overweight again. And it was just, you think you're being careful and you think you're being diligent, but something starts to happen. That's a pattern that you repeat, that you're mindless of, and slowly, and sure enough, the weight comes back. So the reason why that is such a struggle is because you fall back into your old patterns and your way of being, because when you go on a diet, and this is the reason why diets do not work, because they're not sustainable. It's something that from a mindset point of view, you go on only to go off when you reach your goal. And your brain goes to, I'm glad that's over with. I'm done. And so you stop doing everything that you did while you were quote unquote following the diet or being diligent or, exerting your willpower, because willpower only lasts for so long. So the diet is only good as long as you are, which brings me to the word good in general. If you're somebody that's been on a diet most, if not all of your life, you have this way of thinking called the dieter's mentality. Well, I call it the dieter's mentality, where you think in terms of being good or bad. You're either good one day or you're bad that day. You're either on something or you're off something. So you're either in or you're out. There is no shades of gray. And the truth is, life is shades of gray. Because if you want to learn how to eat in a way that is sustainable, that's enjoyable, that you could lose weight and continue eating that way for the rest of your life, well, then you have to find the shades of gray. And the shades of gray, to be honest, comes from your mindset, comes from your self-talk. Because the reason why you struggle so much is because of what you tell yourself, is because of the way your brain is wired, is because of the beliefs that you have about yourself and about your ability to lose weight, about food and eating, about your life. It's your beliefs in general, and it's those beliefs that you have that cause you to sabotage your efforts. So here's the thing. Losing weight has nothing to do, well, I shouldn't actually say nothing to do. It has nothing to do with the food. And so most people know what healthy eating looks like because they've been on a million diets. So you know exactly what healthy eating looks like. And you probably also know how to lose weight because you've done it so many times before. But what you don't know is how to change your mind. You don't know how to change how you think. You don't know how to change your limiting beliefs because you probably don't even recognize what those beliefs are. And so one of the biggest beliefs that I share and that come up with my clients is, I don't have time. Right? How many times have you thought to yourself, I know I need to do this, but I don't have time. I know I need to plan my meals. I know I need to prepare. I know I need to go to the grocery store. I know I need to get to the gym, but I don't have time. To which I then ask you, well then, how important and how much of a priority are you and your goals to lose weight? Because you're in essence saying, I am not a priority. Losing weight is not a priority. Getting healthy is not a priority. And the fact is, we do have time. Because when we want something, we figure out how to make the time. So for most people, I don't have time is a limiting belief. It's just a story that you tell yourself. It's procrastination is really what it is. Another limiting belief when it comes to weight loss is, I'm afraid to fail again. What if I can't? What if it works for somebody else, but it doesn't work for me? Because your dieter's mentality will tell you while you're on your path, and if you were quote unquote bad one day, what's the point? What's the use? I can't do it anyway. Or your brain says, you see, I knew it. You can't do it. You're going to fail again. Why bother? And if you recognize that voice, that's the voice that lives up here. That's your self-talk. It's your mindset. It's the way your brain is wired. And until you actually recognize why you do what you do, because our actions follow our thoughts. So until you recognize actually how you think and what you believe, you will just continue to sabotage yourself over and over and over again. And you probably won't even recognize that you're sabotaging yourself because you've got that tape that goes on in your head over and over and over, and you say the same thing, and you probably don't even hear it because it happens in nanoseconds. And then what do? You throw in the towel, you go on a little eating excursion, you beat yourself up, you feel defeated, And then it takes you forever to feel like you're ready to start over again. And that's why losing weight and keeping the weight off is such a struggle. And so, a lot of people that that I have conversations with, or a lot of people that, attend my challenges or my summits, or, my webinars, before people start to work with me, it's just like everybody wants like that quick fix. They're looking for that one thing that's going to be different. They're waiting to hear that one piece of information that they think they may not have heard before, that's going to make all the difference in the world. And I'm here to tell you, it is not out there. There's not going to be that one thing, that one, magic, the magic pill that you're all looking for, that's going to tell you or give you that thing that's going to make the difference. The thing that's going to make the difference is you changing your behaviors and your old patterns of behavior and the way you think in order to do something different, in order to break the self-sabotage and change your limiting beliefs. And, it's all rooted in our conditioning and the messaging that we got as kids. And so if you think back to it, what was food and eating like in your house growing up? What messages did you get? Did you have to clean your plate before you left the table? Did you have to clean your plate before you got dessert? Was dessert a reward in your house? Was food scarce in your house? Or was food so abundant that you just got to eat limitless amounts of food? So what was your conditioning? What was the messaging? Did somebody judge you when you were eating? So now you feel judged. And a good way of knowing that is, do you like to eat when nobody's around? Because now maybe your brain is wired to think that people judge you, so you prefer to eat in secret or in hiding or when nobody's home. So I am going to tell you right here and now that if you have been struggling with weight your whole entire life, what really needs to change is your head and your heart, and you have to learn how to connect them. Because a lot of emotional eating stems from a place of lack of self-love, lack of self-worth and self-esteem, and you don't value yourself. Because if you valued yourself, why on earth would you eat so much food, or emotionally eat, or eat because you're in a bad mood or somebody triggered you? Because at the end of that, you're going to feel bad. It's almost like you're punishing yourself with food if at the end of that, you're berating yourself. So I want you to see that the connection has nothing to do with the food. It has to do with how you feel about yourself. It has to do with your own self-worth. And that guides you on the decisions that you make. And once you actually discover what it is, the root cause of why you turn to food to make yourself feel better, it is so much easier to stop the behavior, because you can now recognize why you turn to food. So just a few things to recognize and to keep in mind that needs to change is: one, what are your limiting beliefs around food and eating? What is your self-talk? What is your messaging around food and eating? What are your habits and behaviors? Like, do you come home from work and automatically go right to the refrigerator, whether you're hungry or not? That's a conditioned, habitual behavior. I mean, I remember when I used to come home from school, I used to just go to the refrigerator and open the refrigerator door and just look in there. I wasn't necessarily hungry, but it was just a habit. It was like automatic pilot. I would just go in and just look. It was just, it wasn't my stomach driving me to the refrigerator. It was just a habit. So being aware of what your habits and behaviors are around food and eating, and also recognizing what your triggers are around food and eating, and recognizing what your mindset as a whole regarding what your relationship with food is. So that's where the process starts. And if you have been struggling with trying to lose weight, or you've lost weight and gained it back more than a couple of times in your life, that's the stuff that you need to start and recognize that it's coming into play. And it's not that you don't have willpower. It's not that you're not smart. It's not that you can't figure it out. It's that you can't figure out how to master your emotions around food. And that's really what the bottom line is. And so what I plan to do is come to you each week and answer your questions and help you figure out, what is it for you? What is it that really needs to change for you? What is it that holds you back? What is your biggest obstacle when it comes to being able to not just lose the weight, but keep that weight off once it's gone? What I do know is that this is changeable. I've worked with hundreds of clients that have come to me because they can't figure out, I don't get it. I don't get it. I know what to do, but I just can't do it. But I can't keep the weight off. And they've gone through the process and they've made the connections and they've changed their mindset and their habits and behaviors, and they've lost the weight, and it wasn't difficult, and they've learned what they need to do to keep the weight off once it's gone. So I want that for you. And I can't wait to get started serving you in a bigger and better way. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye, you guys.